going to talk about servicing the fill valve in a Goldstar SE. Pressure gauge on the front, it's got a cover that can turn, let you fill, not too dissimilar from mine I guess. Right, the first thing you want to do, obviously make sure the rifle's empty. You can do that by dry firing it until there's no air left in it. That's the safest way. Then that cover pulls off. They can sometimes be quite hard to pull off, but they literally just pull off. You can obviously give that a clean. Then the next step, if you have drained down the rifle, you shouldn't have a problem with this step. If you haven't drained down the rifle, you're going to struggle to the point where you're not going to be able to do it. So drain down the rifle. Get something roughly the same size as the probe that fits in the hole. Push it in and slacken it off. Again, it may be tighter, it may be looser, but you get the general idea. Then you just unscrew that. I must say this thing is way over-engineered. It weighs a ton and it's very long, but there we go. I didn't design it. Right, that is the gauge and quick fill from the Goldstar SE. Right, this is just a ring which is used for making adjustments. I'll go over that when we're putting it back together. If you've got a leak, normally it'll be leaking out this the probe hole. If that is the case, there's probably a bit of dirt in your fill valve. Right, first thing you want to do is get yourself some sort of pin. I'm going to use a pin punch, but you could use anything. There's a pin in here, a cross pin. You want to stick your finger over the top. Obviously don't push too hard, else you're not going to be able to push the pin out, but you literally push the pin through. You see it coming out the other side. The reason my finger's on here is because the pin holds a washer in, which holds a spring in. As you can see there's the washer, there's the spring. And that is the bit that does the sealing. It's not like the other BSA ones that have an O-ring on it. This is just a piece of plastic, very similar to the S200 firing valve actually. Right, so normally you probably get away with just giving it a good clean, making sure there's no bits of dirt or anything stuck in it, yeah, just make sure it's clean and in good condition. Same there, you can use a cotton bud or something, just clean everything, make sure it's clean. If you want to go a step further, you can normally, there we go, you can normally tap this out, which is a brass body with a little O-ring on it. And this may or may not fall out when you do this, but inside there's a recess that this little, it's a piece of sintered bronze, I don't know, which basically acts as a filter. It's like a sieve that catches the dirt before it gets to the firing valve to keep the firing valve clean. So there we go. So you want to give this all a good clean, make sure there's no dirt, debris or anything else in there. Make sure it's all good. Then you drop your little sintered filter back in, just make sure it's sitting in the bottom of the hole. Then make sure that this is good. There is an O-ring on there, just make sure it's in good condition and no problems with it. Make sure that's all clean, no dirt or anything on it. Drop that down, give a little push to seat the O-ring, and then this plastic bit again, just make sure it's all clean and in good condition. Drop that in. There's two ends. The bigger end is for the spring. It's like a little spring guide. Smaller end goes into the hole. It goes into like a tapered part in that brass bush that we took out earlier. Spring goes on, washer goes on. Obviously the washer's not going to just, you're not going to be able to push the pin in without pushing the whole lot in. So pretty much a repeat of the last, taking it apart. Line that up, get it on the middle, then push it down, and you'll feel it drop into the little recess. There's a little recess the same size as the washer. Push that in. Once you've gone over halfway, you can take your finger out the way, then just push the washer down with something, push the pin in. Nothing holds the pin in, you know, there's no threads or anything. Once it's in the cylinder, the pin can't fall out, so therefore it's not going to fall apart in your rifle. Clean that all up, make sure that it's all good. You can put a drop of something like a BSM 50 on the threads, just a small bit, but on the O-ring. Then you screw this back into the cylinder. All the way. Now, as I say in all my videos, you don't need to make this mega tight. The O-ring does the sealing. It's not a question of the harder you screw it in, the better it's going to seal. I've got my tool again. I'm just going to nip it up. Okay. Now, what I wanted to show you is if I get a Goldstar probe, full probe, I've got one somewhere. I don't know where my Goldstar one is, but this is a normal BSA one. It'll do for the purposes of this thing. You see the probe's not quite square, it's kind of off to one side. So this is where this ring comes in handy. Slacken this off and tighten this ring up that way, because we're wanting the thing to go a bit further, so you do that a little bit and then screw that over until you're happy that it lines up. Once you're happy that it's lined up, just hang on to the probe or your tool and then just tighten that up onto the cylinder, and then that'll mean it kind of locks in place and won't turn. And then once you fill this with air, it won't move anyway. This is just a setting. It basically allows you to set it. It's something that my gauges don't do, but I figured you'd want to put them where you wanted them, so it's not really an issue. And then the cover, like I said earlier, you can make sure it's all nice and clean, got no dirt or anything in it. Slide that over, and there we go. One BSA Goldstar full valve serviced.